Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the table at a dance competition? Exactly what are the judges looking for anyway? This is Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. Each week, we'll cover a different topic related to the world of competitive dance from the perspective of the judges behind the table.
Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. Hi. Welcome to Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. I can see that we already have 16 friends here joining us for our live Q&A with Courtney episode, which is happening now. So thanks so much to everyone who's here with us to kick things off. I am so excited to do this. We've been doing our live episodes. This is our third one this season, and it's just such a blast to be able to go live and interact with people and all of our fans and different dancers from around the world. So hello everyone. I love that you guys are saying hi. If you want to say hi in the question and in the comments, please feel free to. Oh my gosh, I'm just really excited about this. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is that it's February. So happy February, everyone. And it's a snow day for us in New York City today. And probably a lot of people that are on the East Coast, it's a snow day for y'all. So hopefully you're joining us on this lovely snow day and staying warm for sure. But it's February, and this is our Q&A with Courtney live February edition. It's also my birthday month. Yay. I'm so excited to celebrate my birthday. Not yet. It's on the 20th of February. That's when my birthday is. So really excited to spend my February with y'all. And this is actually going to be turning into a podcast episode. So right now, live, we are going live on Facebook, but this is going to be also switched over to a podcast episode, and that is launching right before my birthday on February 18th. So really exciting stuff, and thanks so much for joining us today on this live with Q&A with Courtney. All right, so if you're unfamiliar with our podcast, then I'd like to welcome you. And we host a weekly podcast called Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. And we talk about all things from the competitive dance world. So usually it's coming from the perspective of the judges. So we have a roster of 150 judges over at Impact Dance Adjudicators, and we've had so many fantastic judges join us as guests on the podcast, and they love it because we just get to talk dance and really dive deep into hot topics in the dance industry and answer questions from the judges' perspective. But this season, we've also had new voices coming on to the pod outside of our IDA roster, which has been so exciting. And we've also introduced our Spotlight feature episodes as well, where we're interviewing people who are making an impact in the competitive dance world. So far we've sat down with JT Church, Maud Arnold, and our latest episode was with Sophia Lucio, which is one of my favorite episodes of the entire season. So I'd love for you to go check it out and give a listen if you haven't yet. And our next Spotlight feature coming up is going to be with the wonderful Mr. Alex Wong, which I'm sure people will be so excited about. So can't wait to sit down and chat with him. But we started our podcast a little bit over a year ago, and we have hit over 100 plus reviews on Apple Podcasts. We've had over 45,000 downloads in seasons 1 and 2, which is overwhelming and unbelievable. I can't believe it. So thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. And if you haven't had a chance to leave us a review, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating, leave us a review. And you can listen to our podcast on all podcast platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, we're everywhere. So, download your favorite app and give us a listen. You have a lot of catching up to do if you're a new fan. So we're about to launch our 50th episode coming very, very soon. So check out all of our episodes now on Apple Podcasts and stay connected with us. We also just launched a really exciting Facebook group. Oh my gosh, if you're tuning in from our Facebook group, please say hi. Thank you so much to everyone that's already joined our Facebook group. Our Facebook group, as you can see, it is called Making the Impact, a Dance Competition Podcast Community. So if you haven't joined yet, go type that into Facebook and join now because we would love to have you. We welcome anyone that's affiliated in the dance competition world. So if you're a dance parent, a competition director, a studio owner, a teacher, a professional dancer, a dance educator, even dancers themselves can join our group and stay connected with us. I am active in the group as well as my co-host Leslie, and we love just interacting with our fans throughout all across the world. You can ask us questions at any time and we'll answer them. And we have a lot of our IDA judges also in the group who are answering questions as well and just connecting with people in the competitive dance world. So it's a lot of fun. We'd love for you to join us. We just hit over 500 members in the group. So type it in, Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast community, and join us there now. All right, y'all. So just to give you a heads up as to how this Q&A is going to work, we are going to be answering your questions live on the air, and I'm going to introduce my guest very shortly. But if you have a question that you would like us to answer today on this live Q&A, type it into the comments and we will definitely answer it in real time for you. We're going to be here for the next hour, so anytime you can send it in. And if you're uncomfortable sending in a question as yourself and you want to remain anonymous, you can absolutely do that. Shoot us a message, shoot me, Courtney Ortiz, a message on Facebook, and just say that you want to remain anonymous, and then I will answer your question and won't share your name, and we won't post the question on the screen. So we'd love to hear any and all questions that you have, so feel free to interact with us and make sure that you say hi so we know who's who and where you're coming from as well in the comments now. All right, y'all. So if you've listened to our podcast, you know we have some sponsors, and we are so grateful for every single season sponsor that we have had this season and last. But we really couldn't make our podcast possible without each of these sponsors. So thank you to every sponsor who has joined on and have supported our podcast. We are so grateful for you. And the first sponsor that I would love to introduce to you all is Purple Pixies. Purple Pixies is a dancewear brand that is known for their fresh, fun, and fabulous activewear inspired by dancers. They have limited edition colors and prints that mix and match. You are for sure to find your favorite style for class, lounging around, and anything in between. Purple Pixies is proudly made in the United States and can be found in pop-up shops at some of your favorite dance conventions. You can also order online now at purplepixies.net. I have a pair of Purple Pixie leggings, and they are so soft and so wonderful. I absolutely love them. They're pretty much exactly like my Lululemon's leggings, which you know how much those cost. And Purple Pixies isn't as pricey as the Lulu. So definitely check them out now on their website at purplepixies.net. And you can actually use our promo code IMPACT at checkout, and you will get 15% off your order. So definitely take advantage of that if you're looking for any new, fresh dancewear for the competition season or convention season. And our next sponsor that I'm excited to announce is actually hosting a giveaway for this episode, and that is Apollo Shocks. If you haven't tried Apollo Shocks yet, then you are 100% missing out. I can definitely vouch for that because I have a pair, and they have totally changed how I dance in the studio and on stage. I really couldn't believe how much better my body felt after wearing my Apollo Shocks. Apollo Shocks are compression dance socks that come in a variety of styles and colors, and they are meant for all styles of dance. They even offer socks that come with traction on the ball of the foot, so you can make sure that while you're dancing on Marley, you're never slipping, which is so wonderful. Apollo Performance is hosting a giveaway for this episode, and one lucky winner will receive a pair of Apollo Shocks. Our giveaway ran for the past week on our Instagram page, so if you missed out on participating, don't worry. We have lots of giveaways coming soon, even more. But we are going to announce the winner of the Apollo Shocks giveaway at the end of our episode, and they will win a fabulous pair of Apollo Shock socks, which they're so great. You're going to love them. So in the meantime, while you wait to find out who's the lucky winner, go check out some of their shocks on their website now at apolloperformance.com. Thank you to both of our episode sponsors and all of our season sponsors that support us at Making the Impact. We love you all. Okay, y'all, it's finally time for me to welcome our guest. I'm so excited because this guest is a very close friend of mine. He's also a fantastic judge and educator. He's been on the roster with Impact Dance Adjudicators now for the past 4 seasons, and I'm so excited to welcome Mr. Sam Quinn to the podcast. Welcome, Sam.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you. Of course. And I know that you've been on the pod before, but you actually were on a Q&A episode last year on the podcast as well.
Oh my gosh, it's already been a year? Yes, that feels like...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, crazy. Yes, I forget.
I forget what.
When was it? Was it February?
April?
I think it was like February, April-ish. Oh my gosh.
I think it was definitely during like the pandemic, like during quarantining in the pandemic, like after a pandemic happened. So probably like March or April.
Oh my gosh, time flies. Like this whole year has just seemed like such a blur.
Seriously. It's like we don't know what month it is, what day it is. It's all just like blending together because I feel like I do a lot of the same every single day.
I'm like, what sweatpants do I wear today? Do I wear my black or my gray? Exactly. Which ones do I wear?
It's so true. Well, Sam, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining me for the live Q&A episode. So excited to have you.
Of course. Can't wait.
And do you mind telling all of our viewers, we have about 31 viewers right now, would you mind sharing a little bit about you and who you are, where you live, where you're based, any career credits, and what you're up to?
Yeah, so I'm currently living in New York City. I grew up dancing in Massachusetts at Charlotte Klein Dance Center, and I got my BFA in dance from the University of Arizona in Tucson, and from there went to Chicago, danced with the Contemporary Ballet Company, did the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, but one of my most favorite career moments, if you will, was, I know, go Rockettes,
Yay.
was being the organizer and kind of spearheading the viral Boys Dance 2 event in Times Square back in 2019 of August. So that was kind of something that really fueled my love for the dance community and kind of being a spokesperson for them. So I think that's about it.
Yay. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you were able to help organize the Boys Dance 2 movement, and I will never forget trying
Stuck
so
on the subway.
Oh, don't get me started. I am so bummed. I was personally stuck on the subway that morning. I mean, what time did it start? It was at like 7 a.m.
I mean, that whole weekend I didn't sleep. Yeah, I got there at like 6. I think it started at 7. That's when they started airing the airing the newscast, and feel free to edit that out. And yeah, I think class started at like 7:15, 7:30, 8 o'clock. But I remember you texting me like, "Oh my God, I'm stuck on the subway. I can't come." And I was like, "Oh, rats!" But it was such a great morning of just inspiration and support and love, and having Travis, Wall, and Robbie and Alex involved was it just made it that much more special. So it was a crazy time.
Yeah, and it was awesome. I watched from, after the epic fail on the train, I went back home, and then I turned on the news, and then I watched it from and all of the streams on Instagram and things. I felt like I was there, but I wasn't physically there, and I wanted to be dancing. Oh,
I know.
Well, you're amazing for starting that, and it really was such a beautiful moment for the dance world when that happened. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited, and
I'm so excited to be here.
Y'all, I can see that there are definitely some questions popping in, but before we jump into those, this is just another reminder, since we're a few minutes into the live. If you're new and you just joined us, you are absolutely allowed to send in questions in the comments. So type questions, say hi to us, tell us where you're coming from. We'd love to give you a shout out on the air, and we are really excited to answer some of these questions for y'all. So Sam, you ready to kick things off?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh, so great. So I'd like to actually start with a question that hasn't been asked yet in the comments, and we will get to all of those. But I'd like to answer a question that was sent in anonymously from a dance teacher in Massachusetts ahead of time.
Go
And
Mass,
I
home
just
state.
want to answer this. Yes, exact. Yeah, perfect. That's so great. We're kicking it off with your home state question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to answer this, get this one out of the way because this is in regards to block scheduling and competing this season. And I have a strong feeling that a lot of people have this type of question. So let's get this one answered. So the first question from our anonymous dance teacher in Massachusetts is, how will the judges deal with some studios socially distancing and some not? Will our studio be penalized for not incorporating partner work and lifts? And how will the judges be fair considering these circumstances?
Such a
There we
good
go.
question. Such a good question.
Yes.
You know, I feel like we're in a pandemic here, because if you don't do partnering versus doing partnering safely with, however you want to do it, I'm judging what I'm seeing at face value. And there's no points off if you're socially distanced. If you are, I love you for that. If you're safely executing partnering and your choreography hasn't changed from maybe a season before, but you're safe about it, great. And as long as you're being safe, as long as everyone in this space is being safe, I'm judging everything I'm seeing for face value. So because you don't have 9 partnering lifts or your formations are all spread out, there's absolutely no points being taken off. And I think people are so worried about that, obviously, because this question came in, but there's, in my eyes and from my opinion, 100% no. There is 0% points off because you're doing the best you can in a global pandemic. So absolutely no points taken off. And yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't speak on behalf of other
I-
judges, but that's just my opinion.
Right. And I really hope that all judges are kind of going into this season with this mindset. And I truly think that most are. There have been a lot of questions like this. There have been a lot of questions in the group, the forums on Facebook, whether it's our personal forum or the dance teacher networks and things like that. Everyone's nervous about how things are going to be judged this year. And I think that we have to go back and remember that we should be so grateful and lucky to even have any type of competition season at all this year.
I know.
We just want the dancers back on stage. And I know that you feel the same, Sam, and so do I. I just want to go back to work. Hello. Give me my job back, please.
Traveling. I mean, that was one of the best parts of it, seeing dancers from all across the country. But I think it's also just feeling that energy again on stage. Like, obviously, I absolutely love judging virtually, especially for IDA, but there's nothing that compares to that in-person energy and just feeling, these dancers like killing themselves on stage. So it's been so inspiring over these past, almost a year, seriously, can't believe we're saying that, watching these dancers virtually and judging virtually and just seeing the amount of love that they have, that they're willing to make it work. I've judged dancers in the grass. I've judged dancers on pavement and, parking lots and then in studio alone. And the lengths that people will go to, just fuel their soul with the love of dance, I think is great. But again, nothing like that in-person energy. So taking the appropriate steps for sure is the utmost important thing. However, if you're, like I said, if you're doing the smart thing and you're socially distanced, I love you for it. And I'll probably give you a special.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the same, I think that we will notice if you are socially distancing, and we aren't going to penalize you for that. We're going to reward you for that. I think that a lot of judges want to see that more so than the partnering. I'm nervous when I see dancers without masks on stage, partnering and touching and everything, because we're not living in that world right now.
And there's also like no rule book. Right. And there's no rule book for how you're supposed to dance during a pandemic. Like you can't be like, chapter 4, how do I do a group dance without a mask? And I see in the comments, my cousin Suzanne out there saying it's going to take some conscious thought to completely divorce yourself from the feelings about everything COVID. And that's exactly it. Like it's going to take time to adjust. We're only a year into this. And I can't believe it's a year, but it's going to take some adjusting. And, and just on the hindsight and flip side of that, if you're wearing a mask and you're still doing partnering, as long as you're safe, you're, hopefully quarantined with your studio and your block time, you're also not going to be penalized in my eyes, because how can you take points off from these kids that are doing what they were given. And, my advice to teachers would be to try to be as safe and, use your best judgment and put the safety of your dancers at the forefront of your brain. However, if you aren't and you are doing pieces from last year and everyone's masked and appropriately, taking the precautions, again, no points off. So.
Yep. Totally agree. And I think that's the perfect answer to this question. So thank you, Sam, for answering it so flawlessly. And thank you to our anonymous dance teacher in Massachusetts for submitting.
Go Mass.
Go Mass. All right. So we have some questions coming in on the comments, and I'd like to go with Casey's comment next, which I'm going to pop up onto the screen. It's a long one, but it kind of goes hand in hand with more.
Oh, Casey.
Talk.
Hey, girl.
But hey, Casey Go Show, my girl. Her question
is,
contact improv is such an incredible skill for dancers to learn and utilize in their dance career. However, do we think this skill should be taught in open classes right now due to COVID? Side note, love the IDA podcast. Thanks so much for doing this for our community. Aw, thanks, Casey. We love you back. So,
what a great question.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. And again, I think it kind of goes back to the first question of using your best judgment. If you're in your studio or, at a convention and you're contact improving with someone from your studio, as long as you're safe about it, I feel like that it's okay. However, on the opposite side of that, I do think there could be other improv techniques that could be used. Like if you're doing contact improv, playing around with the negative space as much as possible, introducing that idea of how you can maneuver around someone without physically touching them, make it like the COVID improv technique, whatever. But also there's so many other improv techniques. Like I remember in college, we used to, the foresight, like using the visualization of the dots and like playing around with your dots, kind of like you're in a matrix box. So there's so many other moments for improv that don't necessarily need contact. However, given this is very situational, but if you're in your studio and you're practicing contact improv with the partner that you always dance with, as long as you're safe about it and taking the necessary precautions to be safe, sanitizing, all that good stuff, I think it's fine. Just as long as you're safe about it and, you're not like finding Sally on the street. You're like, hey, let's contact improv right now. 5, 6, 7, 8, go. But if you're taking the necessary precautions, I think it's fine. Use your judgment. We're all smart here.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of agree, and at the same, I know how important contact improv is to learn. I don't know how many studios actually do contact improv.
I didn't learn it until college, so I didn't ever know what it was until improv was always like my biggest fear, no matter what. And like if I was supposed to improv before a combo, I was like step touching in the back corner, and then it's like, okay, now I'll dance. But I think it's an interesting topic that people don't use improv technique really at all until you're in the professional world. You're like, gotta figure this out.
Yeah, and this is actually similar to a discussion that we had. We actually just launched an improv episode. So to all of our viewers and listeners, if you haven't listened to that, go check it out. It's episode 46, all about improv. And we talked about contact improv during that and just improv in general and how we don't see it really being utilized much in studio settings. But, either way, when it comes to like specifically contact improv, I don't know how often studios are actually doing contact improv pre-pandemic, because I know my studio did, but we also had like a solid modern background at my studio, so we did learn that at a point in time. But if dancers are doing improv, it may not be contact, but if they are doing contact improv, yay for you. I applaud you for doing it. Yes. I don't know if this is the year to continue to do it. And I think we could probably just like take a year hiatus from our contact improv and wait till next season to continue to incorporate it into our training. Just to be safe, I don't know. I even think it's kind of like iffy when we go to conventions, which are happening somehow successfully. They are happening, everyone, which is
crazy.
Yay for that.
I know.
dancers are in their little squares, and even if the choreography takes you to the floor, you kind of like, I'm kind of a little bit like, is that really what we should be doing right now? You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Put hands on the
pre-COVID,
floor.
convention floors were still a no-go. So, like, you don't know who's like, still gross. And like, so many things you don't think about. Like, why would you roll and like put your face on, the Hilton's floor? That's weird. And like,
Right.
now COVID is like, maybe don't. And you're like, okay, thanks, COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to not let my choreography go to the floor as often as I love a floor work moment. So, I would say in this situation, I would probably like stray away from contact improv at the moment and maybe just save it for next dance season, because it is an important skill to know how to do. I just don't know if we should all be like touching each other, especially if we're not in masks. Like you said,
Correct.
Sam, if we're sanitizing, if we have masks on, if we are in our bubble of people, like, but I also love what you said about there are other ways to do different improv drills and, scenarios without physically touching in a
Correct.
improv situation. So, yeah, great question. Thank you so much, Casey, for asking
Thanks,
that
Case.
one. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for asking. I love a question. So we have some more coming. And this one's actually coming from Lottie, who is in Canada. I know Lottie. And I'm gonna post this one up, but it might like fill the whole screen. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah, here it is. This is a costume question for the adjudicators. My dancer is a curvy teen and dealing with the new challenges this brings. She is seriously considering going back to wearing tights on stage. In our area, wearing tights seems to come across as not being current and not being competitive. I do believe that as we started seeing less tights in the competitive stage, we started seeing more pants as a costume choice. And in my mind, for obvious reasons, what are the adjudicators' first thoughts? And then it looks like there might have been more to that question, but I can't see the rest of it. So I think we got the gist of it. Yeah, so it's a tights or no tights question, and we always love this one.
It's a staple question of the dance community. So,
Yep.
my opinion, I always
Give it to
want
me.
a dancer to be as comfortable as ever. If you feel comfortable wearing tights, we love a tight. If you don't, great. It's all about what you personally feel most comfortable in, and if that means wearing tights, that's great. Tights also create a clean leg line, helps blend with the shoes, streamlines your leg. So I always prefer a tight over no tight, and I just think it's more professional. So I think whatever you're comfortable in, go for it. You do you, and I'm here to support it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that everybody has a different preference with the tights or no tights debate, and I think that, like you said, Sam, the most important thing for any dancer hitting the stage is to make sure that they feel their best and feel comfortable in what they're wearing. And again, I'm going to reference another episode because we have so many, but we actually are launching our presentation for the competitive stage episode this Thursday, so coming to you
So
in a
exciting.
few days. And we actually talked about this in the episode, so Lottie, you'll get even more details. But I think that the no tights question depends on the style of dance. If
I was
they
gonna
are
say that,
dancing
yeah.
contemporary, I want them in bare feet. So if that means you don't wear tights, that means you don't wear tights. And I also think, like you asked, Lottie, we are seeing more costumes with pants instead. If that's what we need to do as a soloist or a group to make everyone feel comfortable without having tights on for this contemporary dance, then I totally support it. I applaud every dancer that gets on that stage with no tights and a leotard. I mean,
Yep.
Oh my gosh, how do they do it?
I remember
You
even
couldn't
like
pay me
growing
enough
up.
money to do that.
Right, like growing up, there was everyone wore tights. And like the big thing was when like
Yes.
we started competing modern dance in competition.
Yeah.
And we got like the other dancers got like the capri tights, which cut off at the calf. Like that was a big thing. But even if you're doing barefoot, there's so many options to still wear tights if you feel comfortable, like with the stirrups, the stirrup tights, whatever. That still creates that nice long leg line. But we love pants too, so whatever you're comfortable in.
Oh, okay. Lottie wanted to know what brand of tights give the most sheer natural look. I mean, I'm not sure because I honestly, this isn't a good question for me because I don't wear tights.
I don't either.
I'm a non-tight wearer, but I don't wear leotards with no tights.
Maybe our viewers
So
can chime in on the comments on this one. Help us out.
totally. Yeah, help us out if anyone has any great natural looking tight options for the stage that makes dancers feel covered but also matches their leg line. And that's the other tricky part. One of the reasons why I like seeing no tights on stage is because I love seeing a dancer's natural skin tone, and then if they aren't wearing shoes, it's just a seamless line into the bare feet. But if you are going to wear tights, you have to make sure that your shoes are the exact same color as your tights, and also hopefully the same color as your skin, please. So everybody, feels their best and looks their best on stage. But when it comes to like jazz, I want to see if it's a classic jazz routine, you better have tights on, and you better and like even a fishnet, I'll take a fishnet. But if it's more of a contemporary jazz or a different style jazz, you could do a legging without a tight if you want, or there's definitely options, but I think that the best advice that we both said for you, Lottie, is just to make sure that the dancer feels their best on stage. And
if you're competing ballet, tights, always tights.
Oh my gosh, please.
I've seen it.
Oh my gosh, please.
Booty shorts and a tutu. I was like, maybe tights with this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So yeah, I hope that every dancer, can come onto the stage feeling their best and looking their best. And if we are going to go the no tights route, we have to make sure that we're really secured everywhere, if you know what I'm saying, to make sure that, everything stays put. But
yep.
I don't think that tights are old school. Tights aren't going anywhere,
No.
Like
they're on Broadway, they're on Radio City, yes. They're everywhere.
Yes.
If it's not broken, don't fix it. The truth. So hopefully that helps, Lottie, and definitely check out our presentation episode where we're not really talking about costumes as much in that, but more in the sense of presenting yourself properly for the competitive stage, and that launches this Thursday. So stay tuned for that. So exciting.
I'm just looking through our comments and just seeing if
so
I
many.
Anything. I think I have to scroll up.
So many friends here.
So we have another one. Boom, it's a big one. And it says, "Hi, Courtney and Sam. We miss seeing you at competitions. Aw, I'm a mom of 2 dancers. Daughter is 15 and my son is 10. With summer intensive auditions being canceled because of COVID, schools are offering the choice of a Zoom audition or sending in a video. Which would you recommend? There seem to be plus or minus to both." That's a great question. So we're
good.
It's either Zoom audition or video audition is what our choices are. So what would you recommend, Sam?
Because I'm a perfectionist, 1,000,000% video. You have the option to re-record, fix any mistakes that you have, especially with people who have been transitioning to like musical theater and applying to those schools. You want to put your best foot forward, of course. So if you're doing a singing portion of it, you can sing it 9 million times. You got to get that defying gravity riff perfect. You can perfect it. But on Zoom, you get that one chance. So it's kind of like this. Do you want to do it in person so they can really feel your energy? Or do you want to have like a perfect video package to send off? I personally, knowing myself, would do the video package just because you have that control factor. You can, God forbid that there's any internet connection and Zoom freezes and they miss your triple pirouette or whatever.
Right.
You have the control over it, and I'm a control freak, so I would 100% for myself vote for the video. Just have complete control and show yourself off in the best way possible, knowing what your best skill sets are.
Yeah. I 100% agree. However, I feel like that the interesting part to this question is the fact that these intensives are giving you an option to choose. I think it should those intensives need to pick one or the other, because it's an extreme two extremely different scenarios. And in a way, I kind of compare it sort of to like our professional auditions, where we have to, a lot of us right now, because physical auditions aren't happening in person, same scenario. We're recording self-tapes. That's pretty
Right.
much what we're doing. But I have personally done a Zoom audition. And with the Zoom audition, it wasn't a, would you rather do a self-tape or would you rather go on Zoom? It was just, the audition is on Zoom. Everybody show up.
See you
And
there.
it was a hot mess, I have to say. But it was a huge learning experience for me. I thought it's absolutely possible. I thought it was interesting to have that connection, and even though internet glitches and things or whatever, but at the end of the audition, we ended up having to record ourselves and submit a video anyway. So it
So
kind
like,
of
is
felt
this a waste of
pointless.
time? Yeah.
Right. Like I just kind of wasted an hour and a half doing this Zoom audition where you're going to just have me do a self-tape anyway. So I just find it interesting. Maybe what the intensives are doing are saying like, here's a date for a Zoom audition. If you can't make that, you can do a video, which is
But then,
maybe
like,
what's going
also,
on.
if you're doing a Zoom audition, you can have up to, like, what is it? Thousands of
200
people at a
people.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
are they scrolling through in gallery view
Right.
to make sure we're watching everyone? Like,
Right.
again, I would suggest the video. That way they can just focus on you. Because if it's not a one-on-one private Zoom audition, the opportunity that they may not see you as much because they simply didn't
Right.
click their screen. Like, too much room for error, in my opinion, where I'd rather
Yeah,
just
I agree.
make it look all
I
pretty and
think
edit
that
it.
yeah, that's the other bonus to doing any sort of self-tape or video submission is that you have the control, like you said, Sam. You can record it as many times as you want, which another reference to an episode. We always have an episode for these questions, y'all. You gotta catch up. We did
So good.
a how to film your best self-tape or submit a virtual submission episode, and we had two guests on who have been doing lots of virtual self-tapes. They gave all the recommendations about like different angles to film, how to film, what equipment you need, and I remember my co-host Leslie saying something on that as well, and her advice was, don't film it a million times. Go in and just say, I'm going to give this maximum 3 takes, and I'm picking from those 3. Because if not, then you're going to just keep recording until you think it's perfect.
Drive
and
yourself
you're gonna be
crazy.
Judging. Yes. And I've been there. I know that feeling. It's horrible. Eventually, you have to just like settle on one of the takes and be like, this was the best one. Like, this is what they're getting.
I had to
Hopefully
do
they like it.
I had a video audition I had to submit for, and it was for a TV show, and I had to record myself doing a waltz, and I was like, okay, I don't have a partner, so help. And I was like, you know what?
Right.
We're doing this one time. This is all I got. Go. This is it. Send. Bye. But it's crazy because you literally will drive yourself crazy over like, maybe it's just me because I'm nuts, but having this like perfection in your mind. Ugh, this world, this
Yeah.
year, COVID.
It's
World of
it's been
self-tapes.
tough, and we're
Yep.
all yeah, we are all experiencing
Mm-hmm.
these crazy submission videos. So I would just recommend, if you have the choice, go for the video option of you recording it yourself. Go listen to our pod for some helpful tips.
And
There's
just
a couple
another
good
quick
blogs as
little
well.
And thing
go,
that
Sam.
popped into my head was if you're doing all these video submissions and all these auditions are going virtual, make sure your social media is up to date and is current and has like up to date
point.
videos and pictures. And because I feel like a lot of the time someone will just go to your Instagram or your Facebook and just like swipe, 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 scroll. Okay, great. I can see within 4 seconds they have technique. So
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
utilizing the social media world a little bit more. Always include that in your video package if you're comfortable with it. Because I feel like 9 times out of 10, someone will, their first instinct is going to be, oh, let me look them up on Instagram. So check that out.
That's really, really important, especially in the world that we're living in now, because your Instagram is practically like your digital business card. So
Yeah.
it's really great advice, Sam. Awesome. Well, we got some more questions for y'all.
Yay.
And this one is a costume question. This is from a Facebook user. Hi, Courtney and Sam. I have a question for you regarding costume scoring. What do you look for and deduct for? So just a general overall costuming question, and what are our thoughts on costumes at competition?
Good one. Costumes. So I look for if it's appropriate for the age, if it's appropriate for the style and whatever character you're portraying. Other than that, I'm not gonna judge your rhinestones. I'm not gonna judge if it's a halter versus a strap. Like I'm not giving my personal preference on what your actual costume is, but does it fit you appropriately? Does it match what you're doing? Is it holding you back in any way? Is it too stiff of a fabric where you can't actually move your body in? Are you getting caught on your skirt? Things like that. My personal opinion on like color doesn't make a difference to me, but it's how you can move in it, how you feel in it, and if it complements your piece well, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. And I totally agree. I mean, we're not expecting every costume to have trillion rhinestones. Cute.
We love a rhinestone.
Awesome. Love a rhinestone. Always love a rhinestone. Don't get me wrong. But is that a requirement for your costume score to be a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not.
And I always feel like there should be some competitions that everyone wears a leotard and tights, and it's solely about the dancing. It has nothing to do if you have a $20 costume from the TJ Maxx outlet, whatever rack, or if you have a $700 custom costume. To me, right. I'm like, I don't care. I want to see your dancing.
And this, I think, goes hand in hand with our presentation episode that's coming, and I kind of went into this a lot, but I think that our costume score at competition isn't just costume, it's costume and presentation is what it should be looked at if people aren't looking at that. And you can control how you walk out on stage. If you spent $700 on this gorgeous custom costume for your solo, but you're coming out on stage without butt glue and no tights, with holes in your one shoe that you're wearing, and your hair has wispies and it's flying around, then I'm going to deduct a point regardless of how many rhinestones you have. Because Correct. You didn't come out on stage prepared and with what expectation we're seeking for that costume score to be a 10 out of 10. So your costume, and when it comes to the costume itself, like you said, Sam, I think it just has to make sense. It just has to make sense with the song, the style of the dance, the vibe, and it flatters you. You feel confident. You look your best in it. It doesn't matter how much it costs. I think it kind of more so steers towards the presentation aspect when we're actually scoring costumes, I personally think.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. And a big thing for me is just appropriateness. So, seeing a 6-year-old in a costume that an 18-year-old, it was designed for an 18-year-old, that's where I'm like, other options maybe. But again, it all comes down to exactly what you just said and how it complements the dancer, not if it's coral versus blue.
Right. So hopefully that's helpful to our costume question. We do have a costume episode from season 1. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's there, so you can definitely listen to that. And then our presentation episode is coming out shortly. All right, y'all, you're giving us so many questions today. I love it. Here's the next one.
Good.
Hi there. What would your advice be to a dancer who plans to pursue a career in dance after graduating high school, but is unable to attend conventions, master classes, and other amazing opportunities due to COVID? What beneficial things can we be doing right now while the world is kind of on hold? Great question.
Really good. I think... Okay, pursue it. Let me just reread this really quick. I feel like there's this idea in everyone's head that if you're not a convention kid, that you're never going to get a job. And if you don't have those competition credits, there's no hope. And that's just not true. Because obviously COVID, again, it's a global pandemic. It's not like Ohio shut down and you just don't have access to the competition. This is a worldwide pandemic. That is going to, be a factor into things. And as long as you're training, you're putting your best foot forward. If you don't have these connections to, taking X teacher's class at a convention doesn't mean you're not going to have a successful career. It's what you do in the room. It's how you hold yourself. And if you're able to pay attention to the details and apply them quickly in an audition setting. And it's as simple as that. It's just audition technique, not obviously if you're taking all these convention classes and you're assisting these people, you're in a that's a different conversation for a different day. But if you solely are just focusing on your technique, focusing on your goals and aspirations, and applying to the appropriate programs and college departments that you want to go to, just because you don't have the competition convention background doesn't mean you're not gonna have the opportunity to go to those places. So I feel like it's a misconception that everyone's like, if I didn't do this, like I'm not gonna make it. And at the end of the day, like getting first place overall in a platinum literally has zero effect on your career. So you do you. You're gonna nail it.
Yeah, and that's really great advice. I think that the one wonderful thing about this pandemic that has kind of changed the dance world is the opportunity to connect with people around the globe that you would never have a chance to take class from or introduce. I know that there are so many dance educators, choreographers, teachers who are hosting virtual seminars, who are hosting virtual mentoring classes and things like that. And that is usually something that could never happen, but people have really shifted gears and made a big pivot to try to figure out, well, how am I going to hustle during the time? Well, I'm going to use my knowledge and skills to give back to the next generation and create a mentorship program, or do a weekly class every week to get them more enjoying hip hop, or whatever it is. So I think that would be my best advice, is like jump into these classes, because I know that when I teach on Zoom and I see your names on there, I feel like I connect with you even more than if you were just a dancer in the back of my class. I actually see you in your little square with your name. I can put a name to a face. Like that says a lot, I think.
And also, I mean, a blessing in disguise here, but this year I feel like has given so much opportunity to start tackling other styles outside of your comfort zone. Like I remember when I was a competition kid and a convention kid, I would never take the tap class because I was like, I'm not a good tapper. Like I don't want them to see that I'm a bad tapper. But like through quarantine, my boyfriend and I like took tap classes in my garage. And like we brought our little tap shoes over to Massachusetts and like shuffle ball change, pretending to be Kaylin Gray. And it forces you to think outside the box. You'd be like, okay, maybe I'll try a hip hop class. You can turn your camera off on Zoom and still take the class and no one can see you. And there's so many, classes at BDC that could be waitlisted, but now because it's on Zoom, you can have 9 million people and you can get into Josh Bergass's theater class and you can take that. So I actually think you're open to so many more opportunities because of COVID, and you should jump into that and not just take, X contemporary class because they were on whatever TV show, but actually taking from like strong teachers who know how to teach. This is not a jab to anyone who teaches for conventions, but like the Shannon Lewises of the theater world, or like the Josh Bergasses, those opportunities in person are so rare because they fill up like that. But now on Zoom, you can hop into an Al Blackstone class at any time because it's on Zoom. So challenge yourself, take those opportunities, and that's what's going to make the difference, not being present in a convention ballroom.
Totally. And I'm going to add this little bit of advice from one of our IDA judges, Max. He said, Courtney, I want to quickly add that this is a great time to look at universities. There are online open houses and potentially audition dates for programs. If you were looking ahead at college auditions, this is a great time to start to work so you know where to check out when things open up. College applications are booming for fall 2021. But yeah, so that is super great advice, Max. Thank you so much for chiming in and sharing that. And yeah, start looking into those colleges. They're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. We only have time for a few more because Sam's got to go very shortly. But this is
I can say a tiny bit longer if you need.
You can. Okay, perfect. This is an important question that I would love to share. So this says, hi, Courtney. Hi, Sam. The comment has been made to me several times that dancers with special needs need to stay with dancers with special needs because judges have certain expectations from competitive dancers and they don't really know how to judge special needs. I'm a big inclusion advocate and I am strongly against my kiddos competing in a separate category just for special needs. For me, diversity is a fact, inclusion is an act. What are your thoughts? This is so important, and thank you to
Yes.
the Facebook user for sharing.
First of all, I'm so sorry that you have received that feedback because I am 100% with you. There, no, we're all human here, and and this I think also goes back to the whole kind of conversation on levels and where do you place
Yes,
things. But I,
100%.
if your judge doesn't, and you said they don't really know how
That's
to
right.
specifically, that's right, how to judge special needs, I
That's
would
a
reach out to
little,
the competition and be
right.
like, "Hi, hello, I have some opinions here," because you're judging what you're seeing and you're judging people on stage. And just because someone may have a disability or a limitation doesn't mean that you have to judge them any differently. I mean, obviously, if whatever the circumstances are, but everyone's human. Everyone's human,
Yeah.
and the fact that someone told you to put them in a different category is just appalling to me, and I don't agree with that. Um, Everyone deserves the same chances as everyone else, and I'm also a huge, advocate for being as inclusive as possible. And I'm so sorry that that was the feedback given to you, and I fully stand by you, and I
Yeah.
hope one day I get to judge your kids.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I here's the thing. I'm trying to just think as to is it necessary to have a special needs category? I know that there are a handful of competitions who have introduced this into their events, and I think that it really probably depends on who's entering them. And I think that there are a lot of dancers with special needs. There's a lot of competition teams
Mm-hmm.
with special needs dancers, which I love so much. And I love seeing them hit the stage. And I think it probably comes down to if they want to have a category that's separate for them to be able to score higher. Like you said, Sam, it's like almost similar to the levels thing where people are upset that dancers are competing against dancers who train more, and it ultimately comes down to we've created levels so more people can win. So,
Right.
if it is about inclusion, then everyone should be dancing against each other, regardless of how many hours a week they dance, and regardless if they were born with special needs or a disability. I think that I'm so proud of this question and for this user who says I want to enter my dancers in with everyone else. You absolutely should and are allowed to. And if a
And if
competition
someone
wants
tells
to
you
deny that,
no,
that's a little right.
yeah, you send an
Yeah,
email because that's appalling in my
yeah.
opinion.
And I don't I don't think that the judges, if you're entering in a category with everyone else, the judges are going. I hope that the judges are going to give you the exact same feedback that they would give anyone else. Make sure they're working on their technique. Make sure they're working on their performance. Watch the spacing
Hmm.
here. I mean, nothing should change as far as we're judging you for your dance ability. And I think that the only reason that a competition might have created a category specific to this is so it can be judged a little bit nicer, or I don't know, I mean, like a little bit more lenient with the judging, and to make these dancers feel like they're competing against others that I don't really know if there needs to be a separate category. But I do
I
know that
don't.
there are studios that have special needs teams that specifically look for competitions that do have it. So that's
Hmm.
that's kind of where I feel like that we need to talk to more people who also have dancers with special needs to kind of get their input as to what do you prefer, what would you like better. Do you want your dancers up against everyone else like for this inclusion, or do you want to have a separate category specifically? You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
I
kind of
fully agree.
curious to hear other people's opinions about this as well. So this, and I actually just said that we should put a disability, special needs, and dancers with disabilities onto a podcast episode topic for next season, and I
was
have
just gonna say
few
that.
people in mind that I would love to chat with about that. So I am
That's
hoping
brilliant.
that we do that one.
And
Yeah.
I again just am so sorry to that whoever asked the question. I'm so sorry that that was your experience.
Yeah. I know. Me too. I'm really sad about that. And I
Yeah.
hope that you can find competitions that accept and love your dancers for what they are, because I have a feeling I know who this came from, and I absolutely adore your dancers and love watching them. So thank you for sharing their passion for dance with the competitive dance world, because anyone's able to dance. Everyone's able to dance. And
Everyone.
we should do
Yes.
everyone, and we love and support you all. So thank you for that question. And Sam, it's probably time for you to go unless you want one final question thrown at you.
Yeah, let's do one more.
One final one.
Yeah.
I think I have an anonymous question.
Cool.
So let me pull this up. This is an anonymous question, and it says, we are thinking of getting rid of one of our ballet classes or shortening them because we want our dancers more well-rounded and making hip-hop mandatory. They are all scared of hip-hop because they are bunheads, and this is not the best for them. We want to keep our advanced kids at the studio no more than 4 to 5 days a week, not wanting to add more time to their schedule. What do you recommend? Dropping down to 2 ballet classes, point and PBT with hip hop, or keeping it 3 ballet classes a week? I'm not sure what PBT means, but do you know what that means?
PBT.
I don't know. Ballet classes, point and point bar, maybe that's what, I don't know.
Maybe.
So they want to know, should they drop 2 ballet classes, go down to 2 ballet classes and add a hip hop, or stay at 3 ballet classes a week is the question.
This is coming from someone who loves ballet. So I would say, because ballet tends to be a strong foundation for everything, I would say, if you're, maybe think about what age we're talking about. If we are progressing ballet technique is what it is. Great.
Thank
Love
you,
it.
Christina and Maddie. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, judges coming in with the help. But
Yes, thank
if
you.
you're thinking about, 6-year-olds wanting to take hip hop, great, but they need those 3 ballet classes to keep building foundation. If we're talking, 15, 16, hopefully they have that foundation, and their technique is strong enough where they are still getting the benefits of having weekly ballet, but also supplementing with that hip hop training. But I would say anyone under, 14, in my opinion, should still be building upon their foundation, working on their technique. Yes, versatility is so important, but in order to have that versatility, you need to start with the foundation. You can't just put a roof on a house that doesn't have the floorboards here. So you need to make sure that we're still, building upon our technique, working on those small technical things that come from the discipline of ballet, and then being able to supplement on top of that once we get to the appropriate age. But in my opinion, I would say keep the ballet. Obviously, we can incorporate hip hop into the schedule a little bit, but I think ballet is the most important, especially at those younger, most impressionable years.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ballet is so important, and especially for competitive dancers, it's extremely important. And I feel like it's sometimes pushed to the side because we want to work on our tricks. And I think that we have to go back to basics and make sure that we are incorporating enough ballet classes into our schedule. But in this situation with a studio that's already taking 3 days a week ballet, I feel like that's more than the norm for competitive dance. I personally think, unless there's more that I'm unaware of, but I feel like most competitive dancers take 1 to 2 days max. But those gorgeous technical dancers that we see are probably taking 3+ weeks of ballet. And it's just a matter of how do you want your dancers to look, and are they willing to commit to that amount of training? Now, if we want to, I think it also comes down to, what does your ballet class look like? And are you a strong ballet teacher and you're providing like the top-notch ballet class for all 3 of them? Because if you are, then maybe you can eliminate 1 day a week and put that into a hip hop. But it's not about how many days a week we take ballet, it's how you take ballet class. So if the dancers are putting their 1,000% effort into those 2 days a week, and you are seeing their technique continue to get better while switching out and putting a hip hop class in there, then I'd say go for it. You know, I think it just really comes down to what's the ballet class look like, and how strong is the teacher? Are you watching them continue to progress with
We had to
dropping
take
down? And it could be like a test run or something. You know, you could try it out for like one of the sessions and see, is there a change in their technique since we eliminated one day?
because we had to take, when I was growing up, we had to take 3 hours minimum of ballet a week. So we would have 2 1.5 hour classes on a Monday and a Wednesday. I still remember it. And that was non-negotiable. And I'm so grateful for it, because I feel like that is actually what made me a versatile dancer. And that is what gave, the musicality, the, whatever comes along with it. But I am very grateful that I had that training growing up, because it made me fall in love with it, but it really helped, just shape your mind and give you the tools that would help you in hip hop and, all these other genres of dance. But having that, I think, is perfect what you said. What does your ballet class look like? It's a great assessment on the teacher to be like, that's a good question. So I think it's situational.
Totally. Yeah. And if you think your dancers look fantastic in ballet class and their technique is shining, then maybe we can and just inform, like, we're dropping this down, but that doesn't mean that you slack off in ballet class. You have to try just as hard, and you have to make sure that you are giving it your 1,000%, because we are taking away a day. And I know that you're not excited about hip hop class. I'm sorry about it, but you have to get excited, because we need to be versatile.
Growing up, I would be like, I don't want to do that. Give me the ballet bar. But it is so important, and that was the same way with tap. Like, I'm so grateful that I was forced to take tap growing up, because that has changed the way you hear music and the way you dance, and it helps your jazz dancing and musicality and all this stuff. So it can't hurt.
100%. Yep, yeah. I totally agree. Well, thank you to our anonymous question that just came in, and that is unfortunately our last question of the episode. Oh my gosh. Sam, thank you so much for staying like a few minutes late. And,
oh my gosh. Well, thanks for having me.
This has been amazing advice.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you to every single viewer who tuned in to this episode, and also everyone that chimed in with a question. We're always happy to answer them. And Sam, thank you so much. Make sure that everyone goes and follows Sam on Instagram at Sam Quinn. Give him some follows over there.
Yeah.
And I hope that you have a lovely rest of your snow day, Sam. And
thanks. I'm going back to work. Yeah, going back to work. So this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me. And I just love everything that you do for the dance community. I think you're such an incredible influence and, just a leader in the dance community. And I know so many people look to you for advice, and I don't think you're thanked enough for what you do, not only for judges, but for teachers and dancers and just the whole community. I don't think you get enough appreciation. So on behalf of the dance world, I say thank you.
Oh my God. Thanks.
And I know I have Suzanne's blessing when I say that. So if Suzanne says it, then we know it's good. So I know that she feels the same.
Oh, thank you so much, Sam. That means so much. And I just love having you on board with IDA and all of your support. So thank you. Everybody say bye to Sam. Thanks so much.
Bye, friends.
Sam's rolling out. Bye. All right. So I am still here, and I'm going to just wrap up a few things on our end. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us. He's just so spectacular and fabulous. And before we officially sign off from this live today, like I mentioned at the very beginning, we've been running a giveaway sponsored by Apollo Performance, and one lucky, winner is going to get a pair of Apollo Shocks, which I can show you what they look like. They're dance compression socks, and this is actually my pair. I forget what these ones are called. They're a little bit higher. They go up to my shin, and these ones do not have the traction on the bottom, but usually there's a little pad here with traction, and it helps you grip the floor, especially for if you're dancing on Marley. If you are a dancer who wears socks, which I have my own thoughts about that, and I feel like that advanced dancers should be wearing socks. So if you're an advanced dancer wearing socks and you're just wearing like socks that you got from the Gap or something, you need to invest in these because these are a game changer for you when it comes to dancing socks. I can't vouch for them enough. I love my Apollo Shocks. So I am so excited to announce the winner of the Apollo Shocks giveaway, and that is Miss Jordan Morell. Congratulations, Jordan. I'm not sure if you're here watching our live, but if you are, congrats. If you're not, I will personally send you a message on Instagram or Facebook and let you know that you're the winner and you get to receive a free pair of Apollo Shocks. So thank you so much to Apollo for sponsoring this episode. We love them. And please, every single person, go check out these compression socks for dance. I swear they're fabulous. So thanks so much and congrats to Jordan for the win. So final few things to wrap up our episode that I'd like to share in IDA land. And the first thing is IDA's virtual competition. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. I'm sure you've seen posts on Facebook and Instagram about our virtual competition, but we are back and we are opening up this to solos and groups this time. We have 2 upcoming events. Our first one is in March, and our registration for that event opens up on February 15th. So it's coming soon. Registration will be open and active for an entire month. So you'll have a month to get your entries in, and on March 15th, our registration will officially close and the event will then begin. Our judges will start judging and critiquing and scoring your dances, and we will send back your scores. And then I don't have all of the dates up, but you can go check out our website to check out all of the rest of the dates. But we'll have website announcements of the overall winners, as well as a live stream top 20 challenge for our top contestants in both the solos and groups. So really exciting stuff. It's so much fun. If you've already competed or participated in our virtual competition, thank you so much for your support. I hope you've enjoyed it. Our judges are some of the best in the industry, and we really go above and beyond with our critiques. It's 100% guaranteed that you're going to walk away with so much information to take back into the rehearsal studio. And I also think it's important to have a backup plan in case, fingers crossed, oh my gosh, we all want to go to a live competition event this season, and I hope that you get to. But if for some reason you need an alternative or a backup plan, then IDA's virtual competition is a great alternative to get some amazing feedback from our judges and be considered for some sponsored prizes, like Apollo Shot sponsors a lot of our events, and also our top prize winners will win cash. So yay for that. Go check out and learn more and view our upcoming dates at impactdanceadjudicators.com/virtual competition. And we hope you'll join us. And finally, before we sign off, an option for you is our online judges critiques. And if you haven't heard of them or utilized the service before, we've been doing this for the past 6 years, and it's really awesome. An actual judge will critique your routine. This isn't a competition. This is if you want to get a fresh set of eyes to look at your dance before you hit the stage. And if you do our additional feedback, you'll actually get between 10 to 15 minutes of extra feedback where the judge goes back from the beginning and starts and stops your dance and dives deeper with the correction. So way more than you get at a regular competition, which is what makes our IDA online critique so unique. And for our additional feedback critiques, you'll actually see your judge critiquing your dance. So you'll see them on the screen and you can get to know them a little bit more, and they're not just the voice behind the video any longer. So definitely take advantage of the service if you are interested in getting some feedback before you hit the stage or during the competition season. All of our customers love it, and critiques start at only $35, so we make it super affordable, and our judges are having a blast doing all of these online critiques. So definitely check that out on our website as well at impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques. All right, y'all. Well, that wraps up our Q&A with Courtney live February edition. I hope that you enjoyed tuning in. Thank you to every single viewer on Facebook who joined us today on this snow day. If it's a snow day for you, it's a snow day for me. And happy February, everyone. We have so many awesome things happening at IDA, and I'm just so grateful. Thank you to Sam who joined us for this episode. We have some fantastic episodes coming your way on the podcast. Season 2 is not over, so make sure you continue to tune in. Head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Hit subscribe so you can get our weekly episodes straight to your phone every Thursday we launch. So I hope you've been enjoying the season. I hope you enjoyed this live event. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.